Okay, so here they are out here drying a little bit more on my porch. The only other thing with this paper clay, it has a little bit of a rough surface, and I guess that's okay for, you know, creatures like this. The teeth were really a big problem trying to get it to sculpt around and stick it on there, so I'm just gonna have to end up finishing the teeth and adding a lot more extra sharper teeth with the epoxy putty for this thing. And here's the troll, and this paper clay stuff was pretty thick, so it's taking a lot of time to dry. I have it sitting out here in the sun. I'm gonna go walk around right here. So here we go, and as you can see, the texture, it's a little rough. I'm doing a little bit of sanding on it, although I think my sandpaper here was a little too fine. And the troll here, the cool thing about the paper clay was, as I suspected, it was, see, I could sculpt some detail into it, as you can see. You know, you can actually sculpt, you know, wrinkles in the face and, you know, some of the facial features, but it didn't come out very, very smooth. I might have to use one of the more updated recipes. The lady who I found online has an updated recipe with using actual kaolin, which is powdered ceramic clay, as one of the ingredients, and I couldn't find any, so I just had to use the basic beginner's recipe. So okay, everybody, we're still slowly but surely making a little bit of progress. You know, as you can see, here's the troll with probably a little bit better lighting than the last little clip. You can see how this paper clay, you know, it still has a little bit of a rough texture, but I'm starting now to use this the epoxy putty I just did on the on some of the teeth. I haven't gotten the tusks or the incisors yet done on the troll. And right here, my wife is helping out a lot. She's great. Give us a smile. Okay. See how cute she is. And she has been doing great. She did great on all the other heads from a few years ago with paper mache. She has a real knack for it.
You're so funny.
So, although this one was giving her a little bit of trouble a while ago, because we're trying to, it's such a rush job that I kind of left, you know, it's partially my fault. I left the hand in a pretty rough state, and she's trying to battle all my holes and creases here, but doing an awesome job. So, and like I said before, the reason I went with paper mache on this hand is to be quick, because I tried the paper clay on it a little bit at first, and it was just way too heavy to try and, I mean, it really would have probably pulled the paper down and wrinkled it and crushed it. But I'm going to try it more in the near future. So, just working on that. And let's go over really quick. Check out how this guy here is looking. Sorry, I'm turning the camera so much. Get this light on here. So, I don't know if you can see here. Let me turn around. You see, for his teeth, I tried to smooth those out best I could with this epoxy putty. Let's see if you guys can see it. You know, and I've patched up a couple of other little places with the epoxy putty. And if you're curious about it, it's called Epoxy Sculpt. It's a little bit expensive. It's about $35 to $40 for a kit. It's a two-part epoxy putty that you mix, blend together till it's an even tone. And within about 2 hours, it's hard as a rock. It's like super hard plastic. So, we're coming along little by little. Next is we're gonna have to throw together some costumes really quickly. So there's a little bit more of an update. Bye-bye. So here we go again. Here is, let's see, that doesn't make, okay. Here is how the troll is looking. So I think it's looking great. You guys let me know what y'all think. You know, we're down to the wire here. I'm going to try and get this in front of a friend of mine's. He has a really huge, successful haunted house down here that's actually takes place in what used to be a real funeral home years ago, and it's reportedly haunted. But he has a highly successful haunted house, and we're gonna have these guys outside of it, maybe entertaining the line, the crowds of people as they come in. Okay guys, so here we go. Here's both of them together. I mean, I'm still working on the paint jobs a little bit, but you know, here's this guy. Don't quite know what he is. Horrifying creature. But here's his hands. You can see what I did here. And I did some of my little finishing detail with, like I mentioned before, epoxy sculpt, which is a two-part epoxy putty. And although, you know, these are a little bit crude, this is just homemade, you know, basic materials. Like I said, these are mostly made out of paper. So what I used for the skin, or the paper mache layer, like I mentioned before, was a recipe I found online for something called paper clay. It was my first time trying it, and it worked out well. You know, we have some cool textures. I don't know if my lighting is too well right here. I have an open window. I need to maybe close that and take another shot. But so you can see the hands, and I was able to do some pretty cool detail in the hands, if you can see. And what the like I said, I used epoxy putty in the inside of the hands there to give them a little bit of wrinkly detail. But as you can see, the bottom part of this thing, here's just the brown paper and cardboard. So that's one. Here's another hand. And here's the inside of this hand. So that's what we have here. I'm gonna go with this guy. So here he is with his giant hands. Here's the troll, which I'm planning on, although I have not glossed his eyes yet. I did his teeth a little bit. You can see the shine on the teeth. I did his teeth a little, and I'm going to do a high gloss on their eyeballs, maybe a little bit on their fingernails. Troll's hands as well. I'll show you guys the inside. So here's the inside of the troll hand. I did some wrinkly effect, and it's going to be hard to film, but see, here's how you put him in. Put your hand in. Have the giant troll hand. Inside of this hand has some wrinkled skin texture a little bit, and you know, it's not really my best work, but for a really quick job, just to get the effect, I think it worked out okay. Like I said, the little veins and some of these little wrinkly details were done with the epoxy putty. You know, the extended fingernails. So here we go. They are on their way, little by little. So I'll update you guys again shortly.